Hello my photoshopping friends, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Carl and I like to mess with all things Photoshop. If you're a returner, thanks for coming back. And if you're a subscriber, thank you so much for the subscription, it means the world to me. That being said, if you want to join the family, all you have to do is like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. If you hit the notification bell, then you'll never miss any tutorials, any fun stuff. Okay, this lesson will be number 3 in the series of 3. In the first lesson, we learned how to use variables to upscale and maximise a single t-shirt design and create 30 designs just with a few clicks. In the second lesson, we expanded on that even further, just by using batch processing and actions, where we created another 90 t-shirts on top of the 30, making well over 100 designs from a single t-shirt design. This showed you the power of variables, batch processing and actions. So what I think we'll do in this lesson is we'll take everything that we've learned and apply them to different designs. Show you just how powerful these variables can be and batch processing can be. So with that being said, I think what we'll do is grab a coffee, get your mouse and let's get into Photoshop.
Hello and welcome to lesson 3 in the series of maximising your designs. In this lesson we will take everything that we have learnt from lesson 1 and 2 about variables, batch processing and actions and applying them to 2 separate designs that I have created, just to show you what you can and also cannot do and the limitations of variables. With that being said, let's get into Photoshop and start on our first design. This will be a very simple design, on a black background. Basically some pastel rectangles and then some words and text on the top which reads, "All women are created equal, but only the best are born in," and then we can target the 1950 with a variable. We can search the internet and see if we can actually find a list of years rather than type them out separate. Here we go, I've just found one. We'll see if we can copy and paste all this into a text file, which will save us plenty of typing. So we'll create a new text file, we'll call it years, and then we'll paste all the numbers in. And there, as we can see, it's worked. So we'll do right up to the modern year, and then we'll save it, put that into our tutorial folder just so we know where it is. So now we'll target the 1950, and we'll do that just the same as we did in lesson 1. By creating a variable. We need to make sure that the layer is the 1950 layer because that's the layer that we're going to be targeting. We need a text replacement and the label that we gave the text file was years. So make sure we type years and then click next, and then we can import the file and then browse to the file. We put it in as tutorial folder so we know where to find it. Once we get in there, we find the years. Double click that and there we go, and now we can flick through and we can see the years changing at the bottom. So using this variable we can literally get 50-60 t-shirts, and if we wanted to we could have as many years as we wanted. So now we hit apply, then we'll OK it. Okay, now we've applied it, I think the best thing to do is if we create a folder called years in the tutorial folder to store everything that we design and everything that we create with variables and actions, we can drop into this folder, then we don't lose it, keep it all organised. So there's our folder created. Now we'll minimise that, remove the background layer because we're creating t-shirts, we want them on a transparent layer. So now we're ready to automate. We can file, export and data sets as files. Once we get to that screen, we need to select the folder to save all the PSDs into. So we'll click that, find our tutorial folder, then find our years folder, select the folder, and then we're ready to click OK. And now we sit back and watch the magic happen again, just like we did in lesson 1. All them beautiful PSDs filling up with very little effort whatsoever. And now that we have all them beautiful PSDs, we need to convert them into PNGs, all ready for uploading to our POD sites. So we'll do that using batch. We'll select the action that we created in lesson 1, which was save to PNG. Then we will browse, select the folder, which in this case will be years, the one we've just created, and then the source folder we will also select years. We can drop all the PNGs into this folder. Now make sure we keep that ticked, click OK, and sit back and watch all the PNGs be created. And while the magic's happening, if I could take this opportunity to ask you to like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, share this with all your friends, I would be extremely appreciative. So this is what they look like, full screen with a transparent background. So now I think we should apply the same thing to our second design. This design will consist of 4 white squares with simple words, eat, sleep, rave, repeat, and we will target the rave, but we will also make this into a distressed background. A bonus little tip while you're here. It looks absolutely superb on black t-shirts and white t-shirts, and as I've told you before in lesson 2, I'll love to work monochromatically. So we'll find the grunge background. I'm searching on Bing Images. We just search, and this is the one that I always use. I do have it saved, but this way it will give you the opportunity to find it yourself, download it yourself, and then you've got this that you can apply to any of your future designs, particularly the black and white ones, which it works particularly well with, as you will see. So the way I tend to do it is, even though it's an overlay, I prefer to actually select the pixels. We do this by CTRL and click. If you click the layer in CTRL, as you can see, we get the dancing ants, and it will select all the dark pixels, which is all we need. I can now add a layer mask to the folders layer by clicking this button here. This will add a black box after the folder, black hides and white shows, but I want the opposite, so we'll invert the mask with the keyboard CTRL and I, and there we go. That's exactly the look I'm going for. As you can see, the distress look looks superb on monochromatic designs. So the next thing we need to do is target rave, and now comes a really boring bit where we have to come up with lots of different words that we can replace with rave. Sometimes things come to mind easy, sometimes they don't. What I tend to find works pretty well is vocational words, job titles, job descriptions. Also, I tend to find alcohol and party related ones sell pretty well as well. Not sure why, they just do. So I always tend to put gin in there, vodka in there, beers in there. But just for this purpose of this, I'm going to make it as short as I can. Also, don't forget the top word, as this is your descriptor. This is what the variable will use within Photoshop to change the word rave. So one thing I did remember, and I've just realised, is the text file that we've just created was all lowercase and the design is all uppercase. Luckily, this little button here will change all text to capitals regardless with a single click. That's the bold button, which will make it bold, but as we want everything to be capitals, I think the safest thing to do is make sure that every single layer with text on has the all caps button selected. So we can do that now, and I've just noticed that it's a good job we're going to do all the layers, because repeat has just stretched a little bit, which means it would look different to all the other text layers. So if we apply the same to every single layer, it should be uniform all over. So now that we have all that in place, I'll just show you exactly what I mean about the all caps button, and just show you what would have happened if we'd have run the variables and had to change all the letters without the all caps button being selected. As you can see, it's now lowercase, but the button is making it uppercase. If we uncheck it, it goes back to lowercase. So we would have had a full set of PSDs and a full set of PNGs, all with little letters, which would have been a waste of time. So now that we have that, we'll create a new folder and we'll call this one rave, just because that's what the letters we're changing, just to keep it a theme. And then what we'll do is define a variable, just like we did in lesson 1 and lesson 2. And then we'll make sure that the rave layer is selected and make sure that we select rave. Now we browse to the file, we want the rave text file with all the words in it. And I did add one extra word that was a bit longer than repeat, just to show you what will happen. Because when it gets to whiskey, which should be here, there we go. As you can see, as that word is longer than repeat, it's going to go off at the end. So bear this in mind when you're working with variables. If words are too long, then they will shoot off the edge of the canvas. So try and keep words of a similar length. Now we'll see what it looks like by removing the background layer, and also we can remove the distress layer. The reason we can remove this is we control and clicked the distress layer, which gave us the dancing ants, which we then applied to the folder. Once it's applied to the folder, it basically does the same thing. By control clicking CTRL and click, you actually select the pixels of the layer. This can be seen here by controlling and clicking on the text layers, and you'll get dancing ants around each of the words, as you can see there, going around repeat. So that's just to give you an idea of how the layer masks work. So if we turn on the background layer, you can now see exactly what it's going to look like on a t-shirt with a dark background with a distress graphic over the top. And to show you exactly what a layer mask does, if we change the background to a different colour, you can see that the actual distress is transparent. We'll drop the coloured layer to the bottom, and as you can see, it shows through the white. We can change this to any colour you like, but when you're going to print on demand, not all t-shirts are true black. Some are slightly off black, somebody might even want a grey t-shirt. When you distress it like this with the layer mask, then at least it can go right through. So no matter what background colour is, it will keep its distressed look while matching the colour of the t-shirt perfectly. So now all we need to do is to export to PSDs with file, export, and datasets as files. Then if we browse to the folder, into the tutorial folder, then into the rave folder that we already created, select the folder, and just before we hit OK, I'll open the rave folder so we can see the PSD entering one by one. So now if we go back to Photoshop, hit OK, and then we can watch the magic happen yet again. Open the folder and watch all them lovely PSDs fill up, saving you all that work. And now all we need to do is to export to PNGs. So we can do that via batch processing. And we'll use the same action that we used before, the save to PNG. And then we'll choose the source folder, which will be the rave folder that we created earlier. In the tutorial, then rave, hit the select folder. Then on the output, we'll output to the same folder, the rave folder, select the folder, make sure that's ticked, hit OK, and then sit back and let the magic happen again. Let Photoshop do all the work for you. Okay, now while these PNGs are filling up into the folder, this will be the perfect opportunity for you to like the video or comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with all your friends, and if you hit the notification bell, you'll be notified of every tutorial or every competition or just fun things that we like to do on this channel. If you're still here after all this time, thank you, and I really hope that you take something away from this lesson that you can use going forward in your t-shirt designs. Well, for some reason it's put them in the wrong folder, so a bit of house cleanup. We'll drop them in the correct folder where they should be. I'll delete the PSDs because we don't need them anymore. And there we have it, another full set of fully automated PNGs. And as I've mentioned before, as I like to work monochromatically, this distress would look just as equally well if it was black on white. So if we do select all, Control and A, you'll see the dancing ants around the whole canvas, and then we'll go edit, copy merged, then select the top layer, and then we'll go to edit, paste. And what that tells Photoshop to do is everything that was inside the dancing ants, we wanted to copy everything. So now if we turn off all the other layers, we'll just be left with a single layer that we've just pasted in. Now we can invert this layer. We can either do it by going image, adjustments, invert, or CTRL-I, which is the way that I like to do it. If we also invert the bottom layer, I'll do CTRL-I, and there we have it. That would be it inverted. And you could then use the action created in lesson 2, the invert colours, to create another 20 designs based on this one that you see here. But for the sake of time, I won't do that to try and keep this lesson as short as possible. Okay, so after 3 lessons and roughly 40 minutes, we have well over 200 designs. We have these ones which were from lesson 2, which we converted to black using actions, and these were the original gold ones where we used variables to change all those numbers. Then we also had this one from lesson 2 where we just added a strange colour. We have these from lesson 3 which we've just done, which was a distressed background layer. We also have these which was the converted inverted white ones from lesson 2. Very hard to see because of a white background on white. And then we also have from lesson 3 the years one. The best women were born on this year. So as you can see, we've got well over 200 designs all ready to go. Well, if you've managed to stick it out to the end, I applaud you, and I really appreciate the fact that you've stuck it out to the end. I really hope that you've taken something from these lessons, and I hope you can take them all forward, and wish you all the best on your t-shirt journey. Thanks again for watching.